If you want to go to jail, or if you want to die, if you find that glamorous, then this is the movie to go see.
Alright, so basically what I got for you today is a Sean Penn triple feature. Now, all three of these movies come from the 80s, and all three of them are fucking awesome. This first one that we're going to take a look at is actually one that I'd never seen before up until last night, and it is called State of Grace. Yeah, man, it stars Sean Penn, Ed Harris, and Gary Oldman. So Ed Harris and Gary Oldman are brothers, and they operate out of Hell's Kitchen, which is a section in New York, which I believe is like called Midtown now. They say what it's called in there at the point, but basically Sean Penn plays this cop who's from the same neighborhood as these two brothers, and when he becomes a cop, he fucks off to Boston to avoid ever having to arrest his buddies. But lo and behold, he gets mixed up, has to come to New York, and he gets undercover, of course, and now he's digging into his own buddies, right? And it's tearing them apart. It's really good. It's kind of got like the hell is it called? The Departed vibes from it in some parts, because he's really going insane. He's really becoming a bad alcoholic, Sean Penn, I mean. And like everything with Sean Penn is great, but to me, Gary Oldman just stole every fucking scene in this film. Like, he plays this drunken Irish guy that, you know, he's one of the last true Irishmen of Hell's Kitchen and all this, and it's great, man. It's really good to see them operate together. Gary Oldman, I think he always is fantastic in every role I've ever seen him in. Everything from those Dark Knight films to Air Force One to this to Dracula to you know, the other countless films that he's been in. He's a great character actor, much like Daniel Day-Lewis and other actors in that caliber. But that's basically the story, man. Is Sean Penn just having to tear down his buddies, and you get so many appearances from so many New York actors, you know, like John Turturro is in this film. You know, I can't even name most of the guys I've seen in this movie, but there's just a lot of New York faces in this film, and it's cool to see that. Even like Ed Harris's henchman, I've seen him before, but I can't name anything. I believe he was a cop in Colors, though, which is gonna be a great segue into as a matter of fact, he was a cop in Colors. He was the guy that shot when they thought it was Rocket, basically. I'll get into that, but moving on to Colors. Real fast before I move on too quickly. This film was directed by Phil Janot, and it was shot by Jordan Cronenweth, and great job by both you guys. And it was written by Dennis McIntyre. So great stuff all the way around on here. So like I said, moving on to my favorite of these three films, and this will be the film in the middle, and this is Colors. This is a movie that I've talked about a lot of fucking times on the channel for reasons that I don't even really need to explain that much, but I will to the people that are new to this shit. Colors is all about Robert Duvall being a seasoned veteran and Sean Penn being this new cocky rookie cocksucker. Not really a cocksucker, but, you know, he's a rookie hotshot kind of guy, comes along, and they're partnered up, and they got to go around Los Angeles, and they got to basically deal with the gangs and stuff. They're in a unit called CRASH, which is Community Resources Against Street Hoodlums, which I believe was an actual unit in Los Angeles back then. But basically, before we get into the story of this film, I got to point out a few things. So the reason why I'm bringing this movie up right now, not only because I just watched this other great Sean Penn film, but man, like the fucking all the special features that I just watched like moments ago before I'm recording this video, all over YouTube. Like, there's interviews with the guy that played High Top, who's Glenn Plummer. He's been in great films like South Central. He's been in a slew of really good films. There's a really good, like, 25-30 minute long interview with Michael Schiffer, who wrote the screenplay, and it's so fucking cool to hear the stories he has to tell, man. It's great stuff. Like, and there's interviews with Dennis Hopper talking about it, who was the director, of course, who was in Apocalypse Now as one of the, you know, the crazy photographer guy. He directed Easy Rider. He was in Blue Velvet. He was in, like, tons of stuff. He was even in True Romance, like with Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette, which is a great film, which is, I believe, directed by Oliver Stone. I could be wrong on that, but I know Quentin Tarantino had something to do with that flick. I think he wrote it, but this movie is so goddamn good. Music by Herbie Hancock. Like I said, it's shot by Haskell Wexler. Not exactly sure what else he's shot, but great job. This movie paints a very realistic picture of what was going on in Los Angeles at the time. Lots of gang warfare, lots of crazy shit happening, lots of community versus the cops and cops versus the communities. And it's like Michael Schiffer says, like in the beginning of this film, there's a title crawl kind of thing, a little bit of a story thing, and it says how there's like 80,000 active gang members in Los Angeles at the time of filming, but there was like a couple of hundred police to deal with what was happening. You know what I mean? Like in intimate sections of it. It's insane, man. So, yeah, Bloods, Crips, and this other gang, the 21st Street Gang, and the 21st Street Gang is like a mixed race gang. I've talked about my love of mixed race gangs in films before. This is no exception. It's great. Basically, Robert Duvall, Sean Penn are on the streets patrolling stuff, forming a friendship, forming these weird relationships with these certain gang members and stuff, trying to get information and whatnot. And it's a hell of a ride, man. It's very violent at times. It's very graphic at times. It's very influential. There's like I said, man, there's so many good moments in this film. Like there's the whole scene, one of the most iconic scenes, and the song that spanned from this film, Colors by Ice-T, which is a fucking great song, I gotta say. Like it's even on the back here, like when they're in the jail cell doing that little walkthrough of the holding cells where all the Bloods are in one cell and all the Crips are in the other, and they're right beside each other and they're fucking throwing up gang signs and doing the whole thing. It's so spooky and scary to see, you know what I mean? Like, cause it's just like, these guys are all ready and willing to die for each other and die for literally colors. And they even say it in the film, like these kids are dying over red and blue, literally, man. And it's very sad, but it's a hell of a way to basically showcase what was happening. And like they said, man, like the writer went around and talked with gang members, talked with fucking youth workers, like everyone that you'd expect you'd need to talk to in order to get the all of the correct information down, you know what I mean? To not, like, even he even said that he had to, the screenwriter had to downplay, he had to fucking dumb down the slang, even though there's parts in this film where the slang's pretty heavy. Even like for my dad, like he always used to be like, what the fuck's that mean? But if it was even heavier, like they'd need subtitles kind of thing, you know, and which is bullshit, I know, but it happens. Like in movies like I believe in Belly, I think there's screen or subtitles when the one Jamaican character Ox is talking, but which is another great film, Belly. But yeah, I don't want to say too much about this film because you just gotta watch it. Like it's one of those films. It's on par with Blood In, Blood Out. I will say that confidently. I love Blood In, Blood Out. Here's a quick little side story. When I was a kid, one of my best friends, like of the friend circle, a guy named Cody, and he always talked about Blood In, Blood Out, and I always talked about Colors. And then at one point he had seen it and I had seen the other, you know what I mean? And we were like, oh, that's so dope, it's so dope. And like, you know, but he's got his love for Blood In, Blood Out. I got my love for Colors, man. But it's definitely, if you had a lot of time to kill in a day, like the days that we're living now with quarantine life, you could do a double feature of Colors, Blood In, Blood Out, do a triple feature, throw an American Me in there, and you literally have fucking 12 hours or 10 hours or some shit of cinema right there, and all goodness. So yeah, great film. We're gonna move on to the last film of this video, and it's actually unfucking locatable right now. I mean, I know I have a DVD-R of it somewhere, but I also have a store-bought copy of it somewhere, and I actually think it's Anchor Bay. I cannot find it, and it's pissing me the fuck off, but what can I do? What can I do, right? Is this microphone? Aye! Okay, it is on. But, so Bad Boys, directed by Rick Rosenthal, who also directed Halloween 2, which is a great fucking sequel to a great film. Everybody should check out Halloween 2 and Halloween 1. I would, when it comes to me with the Halloween franchise, real quick to get this off my chest, I think Part 1, Part 2 are the best of the series. Part 3 is pretty okay. Like, it's dope for what it is. It's like a fun, it kind of reminds me of like, you know, like a Night of the Comet kind, or not Night of the Comet, Night of the Creeps kind of feel. I believe Tom Atkins, you know, it's all there for you know what I mean? So it's good shit, but I would take the Rob Zombie sequels over any of those other sequels of the ones that I didn't mention, like fucking parts 4, 5, 6, 7, H2O, Resurrection, all that bullshit. Even that new one from 2018 can suck a fucking dick. Get that out of here. Fuck that movie. Part 1, 2, 3's good, and Rob Zombie, boom, boom. That's all you need. But yeah, so Rick Rosenthal directed fucking Bad Boys, and Bad Boys is a youth prison film. So it's basically Shawshank Redemption, but with a younger inmate population, I would say. So what happens is Sean Penn is this little cocksucker, and he's intermixing. Matter of fact, with Alan Ruck, who was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, who's a great actor in his own right. Them two are buddies, and they have a plan to rip off. I don't want to butcher this, guys. I don't even have the tape. Isai Morales, who plays Paco Moreno. Basically, Sean Penn, Alan Ruck, they want to rob this guy. They set up this meeting. It goes sour, and Sean Penn ends up accidentally murdering Paco Moreno's kid brother, crashing into him, and then he gets sent to this prison. Okay, and he gets sent to like the worst part of the prison. Like it's fucking brutal, man. And later on in the film, but in case I forget it, Paco Moreno later on rapes Sean Penn's girlfriend and gets sent to the same prison in order to take his revenge. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Basically, Sean Penn's in there and he meets a slew of greasy guys, cocksuckers, everyone from Clancy Brown, who's great. There's a character named Horowitz who's great. He's a little Jewish guy who Sean Penn sells with. And like, it's insane because there's these two cocksuckers, one of them played by Clancy Brown, called Viking, and his buddy called Tweety, who's this little black guy. Like, one of the most powerful scenes in this movie, I just have to point this out before I forget, man. After Tweety gets out of prison, spoiler alert, he gets killed, and it's read back in a newspaper. The teacher who knows all these kids, and he's trying to help them, like the one, worker at the prison, he's trying to help these kids, and he gets one of them to read out the article, and Viking is the only one who knows Tweety's real name. So the guy, Horowitz, he reads it out, he says, Warren Jerome killed blah blah blah. Viking's head he lifts up, and he's listening intently, and everyone's like, fuck Warren Jerome. Who the fuck's Warren Jerome? We don't give a fuck. And Viking just says, hey, that was Tweety, you assholes. And even though Tweety was a cocksucker, he was still one of them. If that, you know what I mean? He was one of them. He was one of the, despite his cocksuckerisms and all that stuff, he was one of them, and it cemented, it hit them with a fucking huge wave of reality. Like, this is a guy that we know, and he is now dead because he returned to the fucking life that brought him here in the first place. You know what I mean? It's very fucking sad in parts, like very brutal. Like, even like it's a sad movie. Everyone has their reasons, especially Paco Moreno. Like, his kid brother gets killed, and there's like a little bit of back and forth between him and the brother before the kid's killed, and it's basically painted like Paco, like the kid always wants to hang out with Paco, but Paco's always kind of like, we'll hang out later, we'll go to the movie, that kind of shit. But it's crazy. And one of the things I like about this movie, before the prison section, which is the main bulk of the film, the dope deal is to take place at this movie theater, or like around the corner from the movie theater, and you see it, and there's like a shootout, and you got the marquee in the background. I don't remember what film was playing, but it's really awesome, man. So I would look out for Bad Boys. And not only that, but like, just everything that happens before prison is awesome, and then everything that happens when they're in prison is so fucking awesome. Some of the parts are not so awesome, but you never get a sense of our main character Sean Penn being in that much danger. To be honest, like, there's parts where he's in danger, but like, there's a scene, it's been shown and fucking parodied in so many things, where Sean Penn loads up a pillowcase full of pop cans, and he just goes to work on these two assholes. I won't say who, but it's great. There's this Italian guy and this Chinese guy or Japanese guy who like run the cigarette ring and like the weed ring, so they're always going around from cell to cell, like, you want fucking smokes, blah blah blah, how about grass, like all that kind of shit that you'd expect. And with it being from the later 80s, you got like that New York vibe. To me, it feels like they took a bunch of kids from the documentary Style Wars and threw them into this fucking prison and said, okay, act like you guys are in prison. And so you got these kids with sunglasses on and smoking cigarettes and playing cards and, shooting dice and watching TV and drinking pop and all that. I don't know, man. It's great. And if you like Bad Boys, if you watch Bad Boys and like that, here's a quick little mini review for a film called Dog Pound, which came out probably about 9 years ago, about 2011 it came to be. And I believe it's a Canadian-made film, and it's almost not a remake, but it's the same type of deal. without any of the pre-prison stuff. There's some stuff like that in flashbacks, but there's no serious story, and give you a glimpse of Mick O'Brien's life, aka Sean Penn's life in Bad Boys prior to being in prison, which is pretty shitty. You know what I mean? He has a girlfriend and all that, played by I don't remember her name offhand, but she's the girl that like is the freak or the crazy chick in Breakfast Club. So it's pretty cool, man. And you know, one other thing I got to point out about colors is this is my dad's original copy from when I was a kid, and this is the first instance I ever seen a multicolored tape in my life, and I used to think it was so fucking cool. I still do. So yeah, man, with that being said, I'm sorry that there's been a huge shortage of videos the last couple of weeks, but I was just kind of fucking painting a lot, and you'll see some of that in the video. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody for watching, sticking around, staying tuned, all that kind of stuff. Check out the Facebook page. I also have been slacking on that, but I just got this burst of inspiration to make a video or two right now, so I really appreciate everybody for watching. So with that being said, adios.